All right, it is time for the currently reading challenge TBR number 1. Hey everyone, it is Shannon, and I'm super excited to be here today and to share with you this video. This is going to be my announcement and first TBR for the May Currently Reading Challenge 2022. I am so excited about this. I literally think I have been excited all year for this. I thought I was going to do it. I was, mostly thinking, yeah, will I? Yeah, once throughout April, it was very clear that it was time for another round of the Currently Reading Challenge. And what that is I spend the entire month dedicated to focusing on the books I'm currently reading. And my goal this year will be to read 65 pages a day, 5 days out of the week, which it becomes 325 pages a week, or 1,300 pages for the month. Each week I do a new TBR, and I have 2 jars here. I have one for fiction titles and one for nonfiction titles. Because I always have more fiction than nonfiction, I pick 3 fiction and 2 fictions, and those 5 titles are the titles that I work with for the week. At the end of the week, I reset the counter back to 0, and I pick 5 new titles. So I'm really excited about doing this. I'll do more other stuff about my other titles and how the month will be and the schedule and stuff like that. But, honestly, finding out what's in the jars, what's going to happen, that's the exciting part. So we're going to go right to it. And so I'm going to pick my first fiction titles. So let's see what it shall be. I guess I should shake it up a bit. Shake it up a bit. Okay, that feels sufficient, hopefully. Oh, this one. I think I might need to do like one of the edges so I know how to put these facing upwards, because are we upside down? We're upside down, aren't we? Okay, let's do it again. Edgar Allan Poe, The Ultimate Collection. I am actually thrilled that this got picked. Thrilled. And it has been picked more than once. Well, more than once, but I am so happy because I'm very excited to say that I now only have 54 pages left, and that means I've read 27 out of the 41 works, so I have 14 left. So Edgar Allan Poe, you're up. You are up. So this has been a challenging work, without question. Some of the content has been challenging. Some of the language has been challenging. Some of the comprehension has been challenging. One of the stories I've read recently, because I have been working on this here and there throughout the year, one of the stories I read recently, the end, like the punchline, was in French. And I'm like the title was also French, but like, I was like, I want to know what happened. But I did not want to know. I did not want to know enough to look it up by the time I was like at the computer, and I'm just like, so anyway. But the next one, I'm actually in really good shape. The next one I have to read is The Landscape Garden. And generally speaking, what I've been doing, because this is a lot of text on the page and not a lot of white space, like it's just the spacing and the margins are not great. But that work is not in the collection I have. So, but I have to read that, and then I have to read Maisel's Chess Player, which is apparently an essay, nonfiction. And then after that, it is just the poetry. And the poetry I've read before. And poetry moves pretty swiftly. So although this challenge is about pages and not finishes, at 54, I might go for it. We'll see what happens. So 54. It's only 54 pages, so that's actually not a lot out of the 325 that I need for the week. So that's another way to look at it. Okay, let's see what's the first fiction. The first nonfiction that is going to be selected. Which one will it be? I didn't shuffle those very well. Wow, I've shuffled them a lot over the past while. Oh, this is upside down. Oh, another tried, tested, and true one. Outline Alphabet's 100 complete fonts. Okay, so this is also another one where there's only so many pages left. I'm actually at 64 alphabets to go. I've actually made excellent progress on this. And so this is, for me, I'm considering this an activity. I like to look at a new alphabet, sit down and sketch and draw it out and do my best to replicate the alphabet. So each time I do that, it takes 20 minutes or more. So I don't get a lot of page count when I work on this, but I do want to finish it. I actually have, I used to try and group them into like 5 alphabets in I have a tracker thing on my spreadsheet. I know that's probably shocking. But what I decided to do is instead of by 5 groups of 5 letters, even though I do tend to do 5 letters a week, or 5 alphabets a week, I've broken it out into how many alphabets there are per letter. So, and that has been working much more successfully. So the next letter I need to work on is E, and I didn't write it here, but I think E has 6 alphabets. So maybe I will try to do all of the E alphabets this week. Okay, wow, so we've got two old favorites. I wonder if they will all be old favorites or if we'll get some of the stuff I started this year, because I certainly started stuff this year as well. Okay, so let's see what is going to be the second fiction. There's one right at the front, and I kind of be like, no, I don't want that one. I don't know what it is. Oh, and what I was saying before is I might put an indicator on the bottom so that when I open these, they're not upside down. So I might do that next time if I remember. Because it's like, oh gosh, I was not expecting this one. Battle Royale. Battle Royale. Battle Royale. Oh god. Oh, okay. Okay, so Battle Royale. Koshin Takami. And this is translated by Yuji Oniki. So this is a Japanese novel. It is, I guess, a thriller, you would say. It was made into a movie, I think around 2010, which is when it came on my radar. It is one of the oldest books on my Goodreads TBR. I did read it last summer through the library, but I wasn't able to finish it by the time I had to return my books to the library. I only go to the library in the summer, the physical library. So I bought it, and this is a really nice secondhand edition. It's much nicer than the library copy I got. So I have a lot of pages left for this one. I have 510 pages left. It's just over 600 pages. There's sort of like a Q&A at the back. So there is lots to go. Last year I did finish off the first section, so I'm now at part 2, middle stage. It is tough. This is, if you know what a battle royale is, you know what the story is. So it is a bunch of teens that are taken to an island, and it's sort of a, well, let's see who survives situation. Survival fiction, I'm not interested. Like survival stories, I'm not interested. Not survival stories. Survivalist, like thriller-centric. I just have realized it's not my thing. But I always have started this. And the writing is good. And the last section at the end of part 1 that I read at the end of last year, so I would be at a good spot to come back to, I was moved. The writing is great. The characters are all have different perspectives, and, and how someone's gonna feel in a situation like this is, intriguing, in terms of the human condition. And often I feel like it can go into really dark places, obviously, but there is complexity there. And so that's one of the reasons why I decided to stick with it as opposed to DNF it or let it go. So I'm curious to see where it will go next. Wow, this is a bit heavy. Let's see what's next. Okay, so the second nonfiction that I'll be working on this week will be hopefully something with lots of pages left. I'm like, did I just jinx myself? I don't know. Upside down again. Oh my goodness gracious. All Creatures Great and Small audio. Okay, so this is technically what I'm calling a problem title. I started this on audio last year. It is a bind-up of book 1 and 2 of the All Creatures Great and Small series, and it's narrated by the actor who plays James Herriot in the TV series. The day after I started it, the audio was no longer on Scribd. Like it just disappeared and it hasn't come back. Oddly, they have the second bind up, which is All Things Bright and Beautiful, although it doesn't seem to start in the same place as book 3, which is what I thought it was. Anyway, so this is a more like I have to decide what I'm going to do. I included problem titles because if I don't deal with it, it won't get dealt with. So I need to figure out what do I want to do with this. It's not available on the services that I use. Are there other services that I could try? There's an awkwardness that right now I'm actually in the middle of the ebook of the third book in the series, and this is book 1 and 2. So this is a decision. Okay, and I'm going to make an executive decision because there are literally no pages. Even if I decide to buy the audio, which is, to be honest, quite unlikely. I don't listen to a lot of audio. But even if I find the audio, this won't have any pages, and Outline Alphabets has a very slow page count. So I'm going to be left with not really having much nonfiction to read. So I'm going to pick a third nonfiction. I know that seems scandalous, but I love nonfiction and I don't want to miss out on reading it this week. So we're just going to pick another one. And that doesn't mean I won't deal with this. I will deal with this, but there's no pages to be dealt with. I guess I could use the page time. No, I'm going to pick another one. I don't know. I feel like I'm breaking the rules here. They're my rules. I don't know if this is, well, at the end of the week, I will know if this was a good decision or a bad decision, which is one of the great things about doing things weekly, is reflecting. All right, third nonfiction. Yeah, I'm definitely putting color on the bottom. Okay, oh, yay, Comics Confidential. I'm thrilled. To be honest, I probably would have just read this anyway. So this I have 85 pages left and 3 interviews. So this is Comics Confidential, 13 graphic novelists talk story, craft, and life outside the box. So this is a book I got from the library, and it is interviews with graphic artists and comic book artists, and I am really enjoying it. I actually read some of it this morning, so this is perfect. I honestly would have just snuck this in. So I have 3 interviews left. The Goodreads reviews are, I think, actually a little bit harsh. That they find, it sounds like people find the questions sort of generic or something, and I'm like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, you don't have to have the most interesting interview question. If they provide good answers, they provide good answers. I don't know. Anyway, I'm enjoying it a lot. I've actually found, I've been reading the Amulet series, which I found through this, and there's at least one other series I started, or comic book or graphic novel I read through this. So just like one, I always like reading about artists talking about their craft, but this has also led me to reading recommendations. So it's been a great fit. Oh, I'm thrilled about that. That was the right decision, but I will deal with all creatures great and small. But yeah, let me know your audiobook sources. I know I guess you don't have to do that. I can do my own research, but yeah, that's it. That one's a bit of a pickle. Okay, so we are going for the third and final fiction title. And there's that one at the top. It just really wants to be picked. Should I just pick it? It's just very... I know, now I don't know if it's the same one. I can't tell. All right, I feel like, we got a jumper. We have a jumper. The paper has spoken. Okay, so the final fiction pick will be upside down again. Oh! Harriet the Spy. This is a very bizarre selection of titles. Okay, so Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. So this is, I should switch that to a non-white background cover. So I actually started this for March Mystery Madness, and I guess technically middle grade March, but I didn't finish it, and I was only lightly participating. I wasn't quite up to doing a lot of videos at that time, but I thought it might be a fun, like, kids book to read for March Mystery Madness, but I didn't finish it. I will, obviously, because we're talking about it here, I will admit one of the challenges I had with this one, there's a lot of fat shaming in this. There's a lot of fat phobia. There's a lot of talking about, like, it's weird because Harriet wants to be a spy, so she talks about what she sees in detail, and that would include describing a person's physicality, but the stuff about any characters that are larger, and there's one in particular, I was just aghast. Like, I was embarrassed. I was uncomfortable. But this book is from 1964. We have come leaps and bounds in terms of how we talk about people and being non-judgmental or being less judgmental, or hopefully being non-judgmental. Not everyone is, I will admit that, but so that made me uncomfortable. But it is a fun read in terms of I love how curious and ambitious she is, and she talks about observation, which is something that I find interesting. So I am looking forward to getting to that. So wow, there's not there are some tons of pages. Let's do some page count. So for Edgar Allan Poe, I have 54 pages. Harriet the Spy is 158 pages, so that's about 210 pages. Battle Royale, 510 pages, so 210 plus 510 is 720. Comics Confidential is 85 pages, so 720, so 800 pages. And then Outline Alphabets, I have 64 pages, but I don't, it's a sort of different process. So where were we? I think we were at 800. So it's about 865 pages to work with these 5 titles, plus the problem title of All Creatures, Great and Small. What to do about this audio. I still have like 14 and a half hours. I don't listen to a lot of audio. So I think even if I did sort of a free service or a sign up period, I don't know how long it would take me to get through 14 and a half hours. Like, honestly, sometimes it takes me 6 months to read an audiobook. Anyway, I will research and resolve hopefully that scenario. And then I will also be reading these 5 titles. And we have physical as well as digital with Comics Confidential, Harriet the Spy, and Outline Alphabets. And then also, I will admit, I am having some extra reads for this week. I have decided to, it didn't come up this time, but I have been reading Les Miserables. And I read it through April. I didn't read as much as I thought, so this is obviously a slower read for me, but I am going to try and read 25 pages a week, which is a pretty low page count, but the thing is, if I put this aside for the month, I am going to be in trouble. I want to finish it by the end of the year, so I'm going to hope to finish 25 pages for the week. I'm not going to include that in the 65 pages a day because it's not part of the 5, which this week happens to be the 6. And then I do have to do one of my reads. Gosh, this stuff is pretty heavy, but I think it makes the most sense out of the other things I need to read this month. I think I'm going to read Hedda Gabler by Ibsen. It is a play, and it is a reread for me. I'm working my way through the works of Ibsen. It's the next one on the roster. I did watch last night adaptation of Hedda Gabler, a contemporary adaptation, but I think it was from 2014 or 2004. I can't remember. I'll put the IMDb below and the trailer in the corner if I can find it. It was a very sort of arty, independent, maybe even sort of student project kind of maybe not student project. It was really, I liked it stylistically, but there was a lot of shaky cam, and there was a lot of sort of like hiding behind things, the camera sort of seeing from weird angles, and the lighting being sort of like not optimal, so, or arty, depending on how you look at it. And I can't, because I read, the last time I read Hedda Gabler, I think was 2 years ago, so I didn't remember the story that well, so I don't know how well the film matches the story. So I think that's why I'm going to pick that one to read this week, and I think it's only 100. It's like 80 pages, so, is it 3 acts? And even though some of the stuff is heavy, we also do have Harriet the Spy and the Comics Confidential, and what's the other Battle Royale, Poe, and Harriet. Yeah, that's a combination. I think I can manage a reread of a play during all of this. Yeah, so that's gonna be, and some Les Mis. Some Les Mis. I want to finish Les Mis by the end of the year, so yeah, 25 pages for that. We'll see if that happens. And I'm looking forward to doing more alphabets. It's also a nice combination to have stuff from last year and this year, which is nice. Battle Royale never made it in the previous rounds, whereas Edgar Allan Poe and Outline Alphabets are old favorites, shall we say. So there you go. That's how this round is. I will be doing my TBRs on Sundays and my wrap-ups on Mondays. And there will be 1 week where I won't have a Monday wrap-up, but I'll have it soon, or 2-in-1. But the TBRs will always be on Sundays. Yeah. Oh, and I did do my reading journal, so I did set it up. Almost forgot. So I'll be filling this in daily for my currently reading page count for the goal. This is for activity, which I do have this week with the outline alphabets. Then I do a cumulative total and then a weekly total. So, and I do give myself a space for other currently reading but not part of the 5s, as well as my other reading, buddy reading, kids, visual, everything else. Oh, I think that was backwards. Visual, kids, everything else, and then again a running total. So I have that, and then I also have my journal questions this time, which are oops. Did I get to my goal? Activity. Can't read it. Did I enjoy what I read? How satisfied I was with my reading? What helped me achieve my goal? What hindered? Did I read outside the 5? Did I wait until after I got to my pages? And if not, why? And I added mood, current mood at the end, just to see. That's a new one for this time around, just to see if there is something there. Because some days, you know, honestly, some days are tough and we don't feel like reading, you know, and that's one of the reasons why I've gone to 5 days a week. Also, I like to finish by end of day Thursday, and then I feel like I have the weekend off. I don't tend to read a lot on the weekend, and I know that that's not the case for everyone. So I have a lot of people are the reverse, and the most important thing is to figure out what works for you. And for me, 5 days a week definitely works. I always do my reading goals now for 5 days out of the week, and to be done by end of day Thursday. So, and that's just been really, and that actually I discovered through last year, through the Currently Reading Challenge, because the first round in May, I did it 7 days a week, and it was too much. It was too hard. So I switched it, and it's been so much better. So wish me luck. Let me know which out of the titles would you go for first? Battle Royale, Edgar Allan Poe, Harriet the Spy. How many people have read Harriet the Spy? I know it's a hugely popular sort of zeitgeist kids book. And then All Creatures Great and Small. What am I going to do with that? What am I going to do with that? Or Comics Confidential? Anyone else read that? You like reading interviews with artists? I do. All right, I am so excited. This is going to be so much fun, and I will be back soon with another video. Thank you so much for watching.